The summit is a major event that will have a significant impact on the global economy and the world as a whole. It is important to understand the key outcomes of the summit and the challenges that the G20 will face in the coming years. Let's first talk about what's G20. The G20 summit, officially known as the Group of 20, is a major international forum for governments and central bank governors from 19 countries and the European Union. The G20 was established in 1999 in response to financial crises in the late 1990s with the goal of promoting international financial stability and economic cooperation. The G20 member countries are Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, Turkey, United Kingdom, United States, European Union. The G20 summits are held annually and provide a platform for leaders of these major economies to discuss and coordinate policies on a wide range of global issues, including the global economy, trade, finance, climate change, and sustainable development. The agenda of the G20 often reflects current global challenges and priorities. The G20 summit meetings involve high-level discussions, negotiations, and the issuance of joint statements or communiques outlining the agreed-upon actions and policies. These meetings are attended by heads of state or government, finance ministers, central bank governors, and other senior officials. The G20 has played a crucial role in responding to global economic crises, such as the 2008 financial crisis, by coordinating economic policies and stimulus measures. It has also been involved in addressing pressing issues like climate change, cybersecurity, and global health, including responses to the COVID-19 pandemic. Each year, the G20 summit is hosted by one of its member countries, and the host country sets the agenda for the meeting. The G20 has become a key platform for international cooperation and policy coordination in an increasingly interconnected world. Pause while she start again. This year, the G20 Summit 2023 was held in New Delhi, India. Was the first G20 summit held in India on 9-10 September 2023. The theme of the summit was building a resilient global economy. The main agenda of the summit included the global economy, climate change, sustainable development, global governance. The government of India budgeted Rs 990 crore, 120 million US for the G20 events. For the security of the event, the government has deployed 130,000 security personnel, including 80,000 police officers from Delhi Police. News sources CNN, Reuters, and The Washington Post reported that in the lead up to the G20 meeting, the Indian authorities, including the Archaeological Survey of India, embarked on a mass demolition drive against homeless shelters and slum neighborhoods across New Delhi, resulting in the eviction of its marginalized residents. The Indian government's press agency, Press Information Bureau, rejected the claims and said that they were done as per the Supreme Court of India orders and not linked to the 2023 G20 New Delhi summit. Some of the major key takeaways from this summit are that an agreement to pursue tripling renewable energy capacity globally by 2030 and accept the need to phase down unabated coal power. This is a significant step forward in the fight against climate change, but it falls short of the more ambitious goals that some countries had hoped for. A reaffirmation of the importance of multilateralism and global cooperation. The leaders of the G20 stressed the need to work together to address the challenges facing the world, such as climate change, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the war in Ukraine. Commitment to strengthening the global financial system. The G20 leaders agreed to work to make the global financial system more resilient and inclusive. Adoption of a declaration on ending plastic pollution. The G20 leaders committed to taking steps to reduce the production and use of plastic and to clean up existing plastic pollution. Agreement to provide debt relief to developing countries. The G20 leaders agreed to work to provide debt relief to developing countries that are struggling to repay their loans. The African Union was granted permanent membership in the G20. The leaders also held a number of side meetings on specific issues, such as the war in Ukraine and the food crisis. A new organization called the Global Biofuel Alliance, EBA, was launched to promote the development and adoption of sustainable biofuels and set relevant standards and certification. A group of countries made a joint agreement to build a rail and shipping corridor linking India with the Middle East and Europe called the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor. The group comprises India, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Israel, and the European Union in the Middle East Europe Economic Corridor. IMEC is a planned economic corridor that aims to bolster economic development by fostering connectivity and economic integration between Asia, the Arabian Gulf, and Europe. This year, a uniqueness has happened that the African Union's AU was granted permanent membership in the G20. It is a significant development. It is a recognition of the growing economic and political importance of Africa, and it will give the AU a greater voice in global economic decision-making. The AU is a continental union of 55 African countries. It was founded in 2002 with the goal of promoting peace, security, and development on the continent. The AU has made significant progress in recent years, and its economy is now the second fastest growing in the world. The AU's permanent membership in the G20 will give it a seat at the table when the world's leading economies discuss issues such as climate change, trade, and financial regulation. This will allow the AU to advocate for the interests of African countries and to ensure that their voices are heard. The AU's permanent membership in the G20 is also a sign of the growing importance of Africa in the global economy. Africa is home to a young and growing population, and it has a wealth of natural resources. The UAE's permanent membership in the G20 will help to ensure that Africa plays a more prominent role in shaping the global economy. Overall, the African Union's permanent membership in the G20 is a positive development. It will give Africa a greater voice in global economic decision-making, and it will help to promote development and cooperation on the continent. Also, we have seen that this whole year there is a war going on, and it also affected the G20 summit. The war in Ukraine had a significant impact on the G20 Summit 2023. The war divided the G20 countries, with some countries, such as the United States and the European Union, strongly condemning Russia's actions, while others, such as China and India, taking a more neutral stance. This division made it difficult for the G20 leaders to reach consensus on many issues, including the war itself. Despite the divisions, the G20 leaders were able to reach some important agreements, such as the commitment to pursue tripling renewable energy capacity globally by 2030 and accept the need to phase down unabated coal power. They also reaffirmed the importance of multilateralism and global cooperation. Overall, the G20 Summit 2023 was a successful event that highlighted the importance of international cooperation in addressing the challenges facing the world today. Here's some of the summary of key takeaways from the summit. The leaders agreed to work together to strengthen the global economy and mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. They agreed to promote sustainable development and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. They also agreed to work together to strengthen global governance and make the international system more inclusive and equitable. The summit was a positive step towards addressing the challenges facing the world today. However, it is important to note that there is still much work to be done. The leaders will need to continue to work together in the coming years to make progress on these issues. That's it, my friends. Goodbye. Stay healthy, stay safe. Till we meet in our next informative topic.